Hi, this is Chris and welcome back to Team Phoenix. So we have a lot to go through as we look at search day number 4 for Suzanne Morphew. We now know that a huge 5,400 miles have been covered. 2 more days of searches to go today, and as I understand tomorrow will be the last day. Horses, dogs, drones, ATVs, you name it, everything's been used. Up to 700 people have been searching. It's been an absolutely fantastic group effort, and one can only applaud Andy Moorman and the guys over at Profiling Evil for all the work they've done in putting together this fantastic search for Andy's sister. So, as I say, this is the second to last day. Yesterday was day number 4. What are the big things that we know from yesterday? Well, one of the major points, and this is a huge point in the investigation, is that Andy confirmed that they were given access to Barry's property, to the Morphew home. That was yesterday. That happened. It was Andy, and there was Andy, one other guy who Barry said that he wanted to be there, and as I understand, a dog search team as well at the property. And they asked Barry if they could search the grounds and the house, and he said, yes, sure, go in. So he was cooperative to that search, and as I understand, they searched the house and the grounds thoroughly. Dogs walked perimeter of the house, the doors, and it was actually a volunteer handler from Missouri who bought her, I presume it was a cadaver dog, and like I say, they did a thorough search of the grounds and the house. Now, they did hit on there was a hit from one of the dogs at a particular bush, as I understand. He started scratching at a particular bush, but when they sent a second dog in, the dog wasn't interested. So that's it as far as that search went. They did say that it turned out to be nothing. There was nothing of significance found by the dogs at Barry's house. So that's a big piece, if you like, of the puzzle in this investigation. Now, Andy didn't talk personally to Barry, as I understand, but Barry did communicate through this other guy that he said, I love you, Andrew. And he was very nice, and he was very, inviting, and like I say, he gave them approval to search the property and the house. And Andy has actually now said, he's actually stated, this was on Profiling Evil's update from yesterday. Please, if you haven't heard of Profiling Evil, or if you haven't watched them yet, please go over there. They've got a YouTube channel, those guys. I'll put a link in the description. Those guys are, fantastic. And like I've said before, they've been fundamental in the search for Suzanne and in helping Andy. So please go over there, and have a look at everything that I've talked about and listen for yourself. But he says that he does not believe that his sister is at or on that property or grounds. He said things before that maybe he thought that she was, and now he's not saying that. He's saying he's happy. He does not believe that his sister is in that house or was in that house or on those grounds. And he said he hopes Suzanne is alive, and he said he couldn't be more pleased that they were able to search the house, and nothing would please him more for nothing to be found at the home, which we know there wasn't, and he said nothing would make him more happy than to maybe clear Barry. So is this quite a huge shift now in how Andy and Barry feel towards each other, how Andy feels towards Barry, and how the families are kind of the relationship between the families. And I thought it was interesting when Andy was talking about Suzanne yesterday when he was giving the update to Chris and Mike at Profiling Evil. He said that he was talking about how wonderful Sister Suzanne was and a wonderful woman and mother she was. But he also said that she's a parent of 2 children with a loving husband. So was that a subtle shift in his mindset of how he feels towards Barry? And they also said that Suzanne's father, Gene, who is, of course, is very ill, he actually managed to also get hold of Mallory, one of the girls, Mallory. So they have now been in communication as well, because I know that they hadn't spoken for quite a while. Just while I was nattering on for a little bit there, I just want to show you, so these are just some images yesterday from the update from Profiling Evil, and it just shows the cadaver dog, looks like a German Shepherd, going around the house, around Barry's property, around the Morphew property. And like I say, it was sniffing around the whole grounds, the doors and everything around the house, and it only came up with this insignificant scratching at a bush, which they said they sent in a second dog and nothing. The dog wasn't interested. So that was kind of how that panned out yesterday. But that's quite a significant part of the investigation now, isn't it? Can we now rule out the house? I don't know how you guys feel about that. Now they also mentioned another significant piece of evidence, if you like, was a lady apparently reached out with some paperwork on some tree invoices which has been handed over to CBI, and apparently they jumped all over it. They were all over these invoices for these trees. Now, I don't quite know what this means. I know a few of you did mention about these trees. Some of you were saying that if there was a tree missing in the 2 pictures. So this is the picture that was taken 3 days after Suzanne disappeared, and you can see this is the picture where you see Barry kind of lying on the floor. And I don't know if you compare the tree line there with the tree line that was taken later on here when Andy was there recently. I mean, there does look to be significantly less trees, certainly on the right hand side here. There seems to be a clear pathway there. What this means with regards to the case in the investigation, I don't know, but it's interesting that the CBI were all over these tree invoices. So what that's going to bring up, I really don't know. And they did mention that yesterday Andy showed up at a location early in the morning and he picked up some documents. Didn't say what they were, but they said that these documents are critical and they are a game changer. So there's definitely something going on behind the scenes. Evidence is being gathered behind the scenes. What it all means, we don't know yet, but it certainly looks like this search is coming to fruition in terms of evidence and leads. They also mentioned about pictures of a truck which has got damage on the back that has been of interest. I don't know what they were referring to there. Who knows? They didn't elaborate any further on that. They just recapped again then on day 3. They said a couple of things have been handed over to CBI, FBI. Some solid leads, particularly with the dogs, what the dogs found on day 3. We do know there were 2 separate cadaver dogs that hit at different locations. This is not the beach site, this is an undisclosed location. But both cadaver dogs hit a full hit, a sit down, there's cadaver here, hit at an undisclosed location. 2 dogs, that was experienced dogs. So again, that's another huge piece of potential evidence, a potential piece of the puzzle. Of course, this is the beach job that I'm sure many of you are familiar with in East Salida, where Barry and Morgan, we worked on Saturday, on the Saturday before Mother's Day, and they're pretty sure that this will be processed by CBI, FBI. Someone did ask me, actually, in the comments, which I just want to touch on. They asked if any zeolite-like rocks were used on that beach job. As I understand, zeolite rocks they kind of hide scent. They're like odor neutralizers. And I put this to Morgan Gentile yesterday. I asked her whether they used any of those rocks in that job, and she said they didn't. So that answers that question. A couple of people asked that. So there were no zeolite-like rocks used at that beach job. They mentioned about articles of evidence that were an article that was been found within the property lines of Barry's property. I don't know how close to the house it is, but they did say at this point it's probably likely to be being processed by law enforcement. They kind of used the Chaffey County Sheriff's Office public release that they put out, saying at this point, we don't believe it's to do with the case, but that kind of line, at this point, is a kind of we don't know yet, it's being processed kind of line that they would put out. So I thought that was interesting. And there's also, almost cryptically, talk of a pink bike. Now, that's just a closer look there of the rocks on the beach site. I did notice the other day that on Twitter, Chris McDonough from Profiling Evil put out an almost cryptic post. He said, "Pink one for parts, please." And there was a picture of all these bicycles. So that kind of stumped me a little bit. And then again, yesterday it was mentioned by Chris McDonough. He said that there is talk of a pink bike being involved in this case. There was information coming in about a pink bike. So I don't know what that all means, but there's just these kind of pieces coming in which all seem to be related to the case, but they're not giving out all of the information yet. So I found that quite interesting. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And they keep mentioning as well the number 5. Look out for the number 5. If anybody's got any idea what they think that might mean, then please let me know, because I'm still scratching my brain a little bit on that, the number 5. Are there steps to an investigation that's well known, and as number 5 is a well known part or step of an investigation? I don't know. I need to do a little bit more research into that. And lastly, I've noticed they've said this a couple of times now, the guys at Profiling Evil, Chris and Mike. They have said now, they've stated this twice, they said that they know that there are people, other people, that need to step up and do the right thing, because we know who you are. So there is clearly somebody out there, or some people out there, that know something about this case, and they are not stepping forward to say what they know. So I find that fascinating that people are known. They haven't named any of these people, but there are people out there that are believed to be part of this case, this investigation, or they have information that they need to come forward with. So I guess I speak on behalf of all creators. Please, if you hear this, please come forward with whatever you know, because Suzanne, everybody just wants to find Suzanne. Suzanne needs to be found. She deserves to be brought home for her family. So whoever this person is, whatever you know, please do the right thing and come forward with whatever you know. And I just wanted to say it's about creators. I think it's great that there's a lot of us creators that are putting this case out there, putting Suzanne's name out there, doing what we can to help. I think that's what true crime creators should be about, is helping, trying to help other people, help families find loved ones, missing people. There's some great channels out there that are helping in this case. Obviously Profiling Evil, Plunder, Tube Crime, Duty On, and hats off to all you guys, and please check those channels out, because they're doing a great job in also putting the details out in this case, and being a voice for Suzanne and keeping her name alive. So on that note, I think that's pretty much it for day 4. So there's a hell of a lot going on. There's a hell of a lot of leads that are being followed up. Of course, we've got the information about the cadaver dog hits. We've got the information about these people that know things and aren't coming forward. We've got the information now that Barry's house has been searched by a dog team, and Andy and Barry appear to be, healing maybe the rift a little bit, which is great, because of course nobody wants to see, as I've said before, nobody wants to be pitching these families against each other, and nobody wants to see hurt within these families, and the Morphews and the Mormons. So it is great that that's happened, and like Andy said, the last thing he wants is for Barry to be involved. He would like nothing more than for Barry to be cleared. So let's just keep an eye out, and I will keep you updated tomorrow on how day 5 goes, and if we hear anything further or significant regarding Suzanne Morphew's case.